All right. Before we go through the next session, ladies and gentlemen, welcome for those who are just coming. Welcome to the Smart City, Smart Living section right here. In the upcoming, we will coming through the next section, which is the panel discussion, the future of smart shared electric mobility. And by this session, we got the honor from the honorable speaker, Technician Director at IVH, Mr. Wong Yun Kang, and also the co-founder and CEO at LOCA Company Limited, SOULIYO VONGDALA, and also Dr. Thirayut Horanon, Assistant Professor, Sinchon International Institute of Technology, Thammasat University, and Alan Chia, Country General Manager for CARSOM Certified, joining us as a moderator. And by the session, if you have any question, please feel free to scan the QR code that will pop up on the right here, on the right screen, and we will pick it up and give you the answer right away. But for now, the stage is ready. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, join me with a big round of applause and welcome the stage.
Hi, good afternoon everyone and welcome back to the room, and also welcoming our esteemed panelists. Somehow, every time I get selected as a moderator or speaker, it's always happening after lunch. So I hope you all are not feeling too sleepy and is able to pay attention to a lot of the good things that our panel is going to bring to the board. Yes, so again, welcome. Thank you each and everyone for coming for the panel speaking. So how we're going to run this is that we're going to give some time to each of the panel speakers here to introduce themselves and share about their company, and what's their aspiration for their company in terms of when it comes to EV and also AV. And I think today's focus is for us to understand that although many times that a lot of countries are bringing a lot of focus to the EV and the AV momentum, it's still a very tough nut to crack, right, in most countries, because EV cost is very prohibitive. A lot of policies, existing policies in a lot of countries do not allow the growth of AV easily, right? So what are all the policymakers and the stakeholders are contributing or having conversation in order to bring this into a reality? And if you think about it, recently we have two amazing news coming out from Australia, where the Bank of Australia has already mentioned that they are no longer giving loans to ICE cars by 2025, and the focus is all going to be on EV cars as well. And then coming out from China, we have China giving the first approval of its kind, a license to run a taxiless AV taxi in Chongqing, if I remember correctly, which is a 30 square kilometers city. So you can see the progress are already happening, and yet it's also a very tough nut to crack again in a lot of countries when resources and also infrastructure is a problem. So today, all our panelists here are actually from different diversity background, right? One, Dr. Thirayut comes from the academic point and research, user behavior, and so on and so forth. And then we have Mr. Wong Yu from Korea, which focus a lot of the IV design, vehicle design, engineering, and product. And then we have our own entrepreneur, right, from Laos, focusing on ride-hailing using EV vehicles. So later, right, if you have any questions, please, feel free to bug them for it. I'll reduce my questions, then you all save me a lot of trouble as well. Then I'll just repeat your questions to them. So I'll give a 5-minute introduction to each and every one, so you all can introduce yourself, where you're from, what's your title, what does your company do, and what's the aspiration for your company in contributing to the EV and also the AV ecosystem. Let's start from the far left. Mr. Wong Yu.
Okay. Thank you for introduction. Hello, I'm Won Yul Kang from IVH. I'm working in IVH as a CTO and for 7 years after getting PhD. So our office is located in Seoul, Korea, and our major global partner is Hexagon and also PTB Group. and we are member of ASAM. ASAM which is a standardization association for development automotive. So, and I'm focusing on research for AD. So our team is developing virtual driving environment for AD analysis, and we are doing many Korea government research for AD, and we are working with Hyundai Motor also. And I introduced our key technology. So first one is we research on HD map generation using MMS. So MMS is mobile mapping system. So you can use this mobile mapping system to scan your road, and then we generate digital twin road network using this MMS. And also, we are developing virtual driving environment testing platform. So with this, you can testing AD or ADAS logic using this virtual driving environment. And also, lastly, we are interfacing our driving environment, virtual environment, and other third-party models such as vehicle dynamics and third-party sensor model, and also AD ADAS logic. So we are focusing on these three major key technology. So maybe after that, I will introduce our research experience. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Soulyo. On to you, Doctor.
Okay, my name is Dr. Thiritorlanont. I'm an associate professor at Srinthorn Institute of Technology, Thammasat University. So actually, my research is on how to say not really go for the EV vehicles, but we are working on information technologies. My research mostly is contribute to the AI, big data, and some part of the IoT. So even it's not direct to the EV, but it's a part of tech is to develop the full ecosystem of the EV in Thailand. But for the part of the academic, of course, we are not the one who built, but we are the consultants. So we got a lot of requests from the government to work on the feasibility study, and before the Thailand will move forward to the full EV system. Yes. So maybe I can talk about this later. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes, I think the data is very important when it comes to contributing factors, right? On to you, Mr.
Yes, my name is SOULIYO VONGDALA. I'm the co-founder and CEO of LOCA. LOCA is we started 2018 as a ride-hailing, similar to other brands in Southeast Asia. But now we are in the transition to the full mobility super platform, which including EV and charging networks. So we started, and now we are in the progress of transitioning all of our fleet into EV. Currently, our core business including transportation, EV transportation, EV financing, EV chargers, and also mobile payment gateway as well. That's our company. And by 2025, 50% of our fleets, we expect to reach 50% EV. And by 2030, then we're gonna reach 100% EV by that time. Because by using our own models of financing to the driver.
Oh, thank you. Like I mentioned, our panels are from a full spectrum of when it comes to resources and also opinion leaders, right? So please form your questions from each and every one of them and have it answered today and take the opportunity as well. So back to you, Soulyo, I'll start from this side, right? Just now you mentioned that you're looking to increase your EV fleet to 50%. Currently, what's your existing fleet?
We have about 600 fleet, and 25% of our drivers are now EV.
Okay.
And we finance about 15 of them at the moment, and we are looking to finance even more. To look into that is, right now, most of the institutional microfinance or bank, they don't like to finance the EV because they still don't believe in it. But because of the data that we collect from the driver, right, we know how much they make, we know how much they will spend on the gasoline, and that's why we came up with the financing model that the driver actually don't even spend extra single dollars. And that's why I think that it's really feasible to reach that 50% fleet by 2020-25. By doing that, not only helping the driver to make sustainable income and good income, but we can curve down the cost of the transportation that would increase more volume to more people, to reach more people, more affordable services. Yes.
And it's a very interesting thing to think about, right? As I mentioned just now, building an EV infrastructure is always, you need a lot of contributing factors from whether the policymakers, stakeholders, government, private sectors, user mindsets, and so on and so forth, right? So at where LOCA is right now, whatever you are doing, is it supported and sponsored by the government, or is it all your own private initiative?
Laos is really unique. I think Laos is really friendly country. Not the best choice, but the friendly choice for investment. For us, like for me, like by investing in Laos, like they allow to negotiate, to present your idea. Like when I start ride-hailing, right, we don't even have regulation, but the main point is you need to be honest and try to communicate with the regulators. And now we are doing financing to the EV because we are not even institutional financing business, right? But we be able to communicate with them to present like this is what we try to achieve. But they cannot support us by the regulation, but they support us by give us an area for us to play instead of stopping us of, oh, you cannot do that. And then that's the two things, right? Ride-hailing and financing the EV. And now the third thing is like, we are actually the first public EV charging station and licensed it and permitted to operate in Laos. And it's fair charge as well. The regulation is not there yet, but they allow us to do it first, to take initiative and then work with them closely so then they can help us in the future, not only us, but the future investment from overseas. That's how our government is being supported. But for us, the ecosystem we have to build by ourselves.
Okay, so all the funding is from yourself?
No. Actually, we receive funding from a very generous company that support us back in 2019.
Oh, that's very interesting. I think it's something for us to look for in Malaysia as well, right? Where we are also facing a lot of difficulty when it comes to infrastructure, right? One is always the two questions: should we do it or should the government do it, right? Or the private sector is the one pushing for the initiative, but then how much money can the private sector comes up with? That's why the question to Mr. SOULIYO just now is understanding where the funding comes from. But I think in the policy-wise, the government has been very supportive of your initiative.
Yes, really, really supportive. We applied the license and get the license within 1 week to operate the EV chargers.
Anyone want to move to Laos?
Yes.
I don't think we get that in Singapore also. Right?
Yeah, I think like Laos never get the enjoying the news like media cover like in English, right? A lot of news about Laos usually not positive, but by doing business there, I think Laos government is really supportive. We just need to be honest and communicate with them straightforward.
Oh, that's great to hear. So I think we have understand how the Laos government is supporting the entrepreneurs, right, in order pushing for the infrastructure. Dr. Choi, how about in Thailand? How is the government using your research in order to push for the initiative when it comes to EV or AV?
Yes. So, like you said that the development of the EV infrastructure is not easy. Like government should be the one who invest, or even the private sector should be invest. And other point is how should we distribute the charging stations in the area? This is also a very difficult part. Some said the easiest way is just put in the gas station, the current gas stations, and then you just making some slot for them, right? But some, of course, in the future we have to have like 100% the EV stations, and that is actually so not easy. I mean, in the research, the payback period is not that fast. It's slower than the oil. The oil. Then you have to find some of the kind of the shop and some other thing to compensate this kind of thing. This part also the economic things, and the location thing also problems. So I work out with the data a lot and big data, and then the question comes to that where that we should point out this location to be the EV stations, and how many stations should be appropriate for the area. So this question can come out answer with the data. If we don't have data, we just cosine, okay, here maybe better, because there are many people here, right? Many people here. But actually, we have to think about the people who use the vehicles and how many distance, how much distance each people use each day, and also the current station, also the power consumption, and the one who produce the power. So if we have a fast charge, and then if we charge exactly the same time, then the city all the power is down. So this also we have to concern, and all this we create a data set in several layers, and then we try to use the real data as much as possible. For example, how we get the mobility data. So of the mobility data we can get from the GPS, and now we have quite a lot of GPS. I mean, oh, what is okay?
In support of your statement, Doctor.
Okay. Taxi, and also the private one. Of course, we know how the city mobilize in each day, and where is the origin, where is the destinations, and then we know the distance. And we know that at the moment the EV can run about 400 kilometers, and then we have to charge again. So this one we can create a simulator, and we do some research for that. For Bangkok, maybe it's, like my friend said, it's maybe too big, and then it's very hard to simulate them. So we select Phuket as the kind of the start point. Phuket is not that big city, and then it's just island. Then we can simulate them with about 40,000 vehicles, and come up with a few of the charging station that appropriate to the power consumption at the moment. So this is one of the guidelines, but of course no one can commit or say that this is the best solution. Even the big company like a PTT or something like that. Yeah, so we need a result from a research to support the decision making. Yes.
Understanding that you're providing all this academic research and simulation to the government, and just out of curiosity, what is the mandate from the government when it comes to EV initiative in Thailand?
Of course, I think. The infrastructure that they always ask us to make some kind of feasibility studies, and another thing is, I think, for example, in the EEC, there is one point that the government invests a lot and create as the initiative for the EV. So at the moment, I think we have about 300 stations in the EEC area. And then also it's the first place that the government start to change the kind of the to be the electric meter to be a smart meter. So because of not only the public charging stations, so we also have the EV that have to plug in at home. And then actually if we don't have this kind of smart meters, so we have no way to understand the power consumption each day. So this is also one of the research that I hope them try to create this kind of the smart meters plannings. And of course in another way we can understand the consumption when the EV happen in the EC area. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you so much, Doctor. Just out of curiosity, I've been walking around Bangkok and I've seen a lot of launches for EV in Bangkok. Out of the audience here, how many of you actually drive an EV car? Anyone? Oh, so 1, 2, 3. You're not counted. You have to be driving. Okay, so I guess there's a lot more that needs to be done in Bangkok and in Thailand, right, in order to push. And it's the same in Malaysia as well. And some of the... So moving on to our third panel speaker, And I've been reading about Korea when it comes to EV infrastructure and everything. And it seems that the government has been pushing a very strong initiative. You can see the number of chargers that you see in Korea car parks, right? I think in Malaysia, if you come to Malaysia, we only have one supercharger at each petrol station going up on the highway.
Yeah.
And then you see 10 Tesla parking next to it just doing, right? So can you share more about, in terms of IVH where you're representing, how are you all working with the government to develop the engineering architecture? And also how is the government supporting when it comes to policies, funding, and also the infrastructure point?
Yeah. So first, IVH focus on research EV system engineering. So for system engineering, we have to build digital twin model. So we use modelica languages such as you know, C language like. So modelica is very powerful for multi-physics engineering. So you can modeling electric, thermal, and also mechanic. You can simulate at the same time using modelica languages. So IBETCH is very strong, has very strong technique for this area. So we working with HMC and government. So they so we generate this model, and also we analysis EV SOC, and so for this we have to build real load, because car OEM want to simulate with same real testing result. So we have to set real load. We have to generate real load, and also we have to generate real virtual car. So for this, we can simulate and analysis exact EV SOC. So and then government also want to generate EV. So some research project, they as you know, Korea has many very strong car manufacture chains, such as engine, powertrain, and also we can generate body. Also, Korea have all the manufacturer facility. So, but we don't have motor and inverter technology yet. So, government want to research focus on making inverter or battery and motor. So, but battery is very strong in Korea, such as SK and Samsung, LG has very strong technique in this area. So, but motor and inverter we don't have yet. We don't have core technology. So, government had use much budget for this area, and also for regarding EV. So I summarize this, but I want to tell you about AV, because we are mainly focusing on AV. So for AV, until a few years before, many government research institutes did similar research topic. So some research topic is overlapped. So Korea government want to manage this situation, so they make Cardiff Association. So this Cardiff means Korea Autonomous Development Innovation Foundation. So this Cardiff manage all the AV project in Korea, and their budget, and their AV budget is $700 million for 7 years. So big amount. So we are also participate in this project. So for example, we analysis and we develop methodology for V2X technology, such as load balancing, and also we develop AV virtual driving environment for BRT, high capacity bus. So yeah, So and also, yeah, and good.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong Yu. So I think this is going to be a question that I want to ask because after our discussion, when we were talking about it, and you mentioned a lot of focus in terms of AV and EV development in Korea. And in your perspective, right? What is the status of AV and EV development in Korea versus the rest of ASEAN?
Yeah. In Korea situation, already Hyundai doing well in developing AV logic. So, as you know, Hyundai make joint venture with Aptiv. So they use $700 million to M&A. Yeah, so in Korea government, they don't want to develop this AV logic. So instead of this, they want to prepare to change AV driving situation. So they prepare how to build AV driving environment, such as there are some research for how to modeling or how to make infrastructure for AV. So in highway, Korea government want to analysis if there is highway lane for AV, then how might be traffic flow is changed. So after also Korea government to very focusing on V2X environment. So because only AV vehicle sensor if we use only vehicle sensor, AV cannot drive well because we have to go level 4 plus autonomous driving. In this case, we have to use V2X or infrastructure information. So also IBH participate in this project. So we are developing V2X testing or analysis technology. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Wong. I think that's a common conundrum that we are facing, right? I think just now before the panel that was hosted by David Goh as well, they were talking about AV, and it comes to a point of time where how do we balance taking AV versus human behaviors? And as everyone knows here, when we drive on the road, we are totally different creatures, right? Our education, our background just go out the window. And using that comparatively against AV, it's not going to be very good news on the road, right? But I think what Korea is doing, having a separate lane just for AV, that might be something that works for it, right? Can you elaborate further on that one, Ms. Wong Yu?
Excuse me?
I mean, how the government initiative where you're trying to create a separate lane or road just for AV.
Because in Korea highway, there are special line for bus already. So they in this lane, only bus can drive in this lane in highway. So government think then how if we make lane for AV, then AV can drive well, and also some accident will be decreased if AV drive in only their lane. So, but if we make AV lane, then traffic flow will be changed because highway width is limited, so we have to use another lane. So government want to analysis in virtually in advance, making real lane for AV. So for now, in this research topic is very doing in Korea. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Soulio, will you think that you'll be using AV for your ride hailing?
Definitely is in the consideration. But then that would be the topic of the future. But yeah.
So I think also another question that I'd like to ask for each and every one of you here. Korea has said that they set a target in 2027 for a full EV.
Yeah.
Australia is trying to move towards that in 2025. Is there any other timeline that's set for, let's say, Laos and Thailand? Would you like to go first, SOULIYO?
Yes. For Laos, they set for 1% by 2025. That goal has been, so far, has been achieved by 19%. So we still have 3 more years to go. I think it's really feasible, and our fleet already gonna be 10% of the next 2025. And I think it's really achievable as well, and 30% by 2030 by the time. And by the number, I think it's really easy and achievable. And Laos is like, the customer behavior is different, right? They own the cars. But then from our study, we see that a younger generation, like why I think this goal is achievable is because when we see a younger generation, when we look back into EV, right, some people say it's a toy of a rich kid or a toy of the people that have spare amount of money that buy second car, third cars. But in Laos, it's different. When we ask the people first jobbers, like 25 years old or younger, who never own a car, they are considered EV as their first car. So this is really, really phenomenal that I see that Laos is really different and people are willing to adapt. And we already see like 2021 compared to 2022, the adoption rate is now like 1,200% growth in just like over a year. And next year we would see the double of the number of this year as well, hopefully.
Wow, it's going to be a very exciting years ahead for Laos.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Now I want to come and visit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
With me.
How about on Thailand side, Doctor?
Okay, in Thailand, I think we didn't go that fast. I mean, within 2030s, I think we target at 30% of the EV vehicle in Thailand. Okay, and then for the full EV, we look forward to 2050. That is that we try to achieve the goal. Because why we get quite slightly moving because of what we talked a while ago is infrastructure. If we could not prepare the best or appropriate infrastructure, then we could not transform the oil to the full EV. Yeah. So at least we target at the first step, 2030, we have 30% of the new vehicles, and that should be the EV. It's about like 750,000, something like that. Yeah.
Well, it's based on the Thailand population, right? I think it makes a lot of sense. And also the infrastructure that you guys have already set up, it will take a lot of time just to change, right? How the streets or the charging stations and so on and so forth. So one of the things that we face in Malaysia when it comes to infrastructure is where do our electricity come from, right? Everyone talks about sustainability, economic environment and so on and so forth, but where do the electricity come from? And unfortunately, for some countries, we are still dependent on coal, right? Or even not very sustainable ecosystem. So in Thailand, right, I also know that electricity is also quite a scarcity. What is the government initiative when it comes to overcoming that obstacle?
Actually, I'm maybe not the one who can answer these questions. But anyway, we also try to move to the renewables energies like the solar energies. A while ago, we have a lot of the support programs for the one who create a solar farm, something like that, to increase the kind of capacities of the electricity. But for we come to in case of the EV, I think this is quite different because of the EV. Take a lot of the change, not only the power consumptions. So we also need to, for example, in the household, we have to change our meter to the 3-phase, and then we can create a in-house EV charging station. So I think the government have planned not that quick, but slightly you increase the way to find the power to support this kind of development. Yeah, but exactly maybe I have not answered the question. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, how about Laos side? So
I think Laos, we are actually enjoying because like 90% of our electricity is generated by hydro. And now we start to see more solar farm. And we have a small percentage. We have only one coal power plant in Laos. So the rest is just like solar. I think but Laos is really unique, right? So we generated 100% of electricity we generated, 80% exported. We only consume 20%. But however, all the products value that we imported, 20% is oil, right? Which I think recently due to the oil price surges, right, the government start to open mind because this topic had been discussed many years ago. Okay, if we switch into EV, yes, we use our own electricity, right? We reduce the import of oil, but how can the government earn the revenues? Because the government earn a big amount of revenue from oil, right? But now, due to the surge of the gas price in the past months, the government opened mind oh, we reduce taxes, we cut this tax, that tax, and almost earn nothing from the gas, right? And now people will think, well, actually we can switch into EV after all, right? Because we cut the tax on the oil anyway, and then I was wow, this is something that can prove that EV is feasible, and don't have to be a PhD or anything to make a decision on this. It totally makes sense.
okay, I think since we're on this topic, right, the question actually came in and is pertaining to exactly what SOULIYO told us just now. With the recent fuel shortage in Laos, how do you see it as a catalyst for EV vehicle adoption? And based on what you mentioned just now, it's a no-brainer to adopt. But how are the consumer taking it from the consumer perspective? Is it making them adopt EV even quicker based on this fuel shortage?
I think yes, because based on the data we get from our EV chargers, so we see the surge of the unique vehicle ID during that oil price shortage. And we also see that our partners, that car EV distributor, we try to buy EV for our fleet too. They said, no, we don't have car, we already sold out. You have to wait 2 months because in just 1 day or 2 days. And again, but those purchases only for people that have second car, right? But we are not talking about the first jobber or the first car owner. I think it's adoption rate in Laos right now, the EV is in the people mind already. It's just about the financing part that is missing. Because even our driver they have a very good income. Some of our drivers even earn more than the manager of the bank. Cannot get the loan from the bank to buy an EV. And because we see that data, we be able to finance them. That's how we currently are doing right now. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Actually, that is really amazing on what's happening in Laos right now. And I think for everyone's understanding and perception also is looking at how EV is moving as a trend across Southeast Asia or even ASEAN, entire world, right? It opens up a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs and startups around, where the focus now, we're always talking about ACEs, right? Automotive, connected, EV, and sharing. And it opens up on the software development, hardware development, battery supply, production, and now comes to solar farming, and renewable energy, and so on and so forth. And I think it's something that it will create, and over the next 2 years, you'll see a bigger wave coming out of ASEAN. Laos looks like it's taking quite a lead on that one as well. I've not seen the Indonesia infrastructure yet. So if anyone from Indonesia, please share with me what you think about the EV movement when it comes to your country. We're left with about 6-7 minutes. Is there any questions from the audience that you would like to have for our esteemed panelists? Anyone? I normally have to ask 3 times and then I'll see someone raising their hands. Yes. The mic for the gentleman over there. Where is he? Sorry. Thank you. wait, let the gentleman have his question first before I read the two pieces here. Can I have a mic over here?
That or protection.
Oh, okay. That works too.
Well, the question is basically, because you are dealing with a lot of different companies in the EV sector, and it's motorcycles and larger vehicles and systems such as that, how is the cooperation going between battery production and the types of batteries? I know I've talked to a number of people outside, and they've got 2 or 3 different battery types, and that's only within Thailand. So at some point, you're going to be looking at some sort of unity between them, or are you going to be competing in the battery sector as well?
Any of our panelists would like to take this question? Won Yu, since you are dealing a lot with vehicle design and engineering.
So can you speak one more, summarize, please, your question?
Batteries.
Yeah.
How are you going to deal with all the different types
Ah.
of batteries that are being developed?
I'm not expertise for EV, but in Korea situation we use I don't know, but we already choose one type of plug-in type. So from currently all the EV use can this type. I don't know exactly name. DC combo maybe. So in Korea's EV charging station, they only use DC combo, but there is another charging type also. So maybe in the few years ago, there are some confused the charging types, but now we use only one type. So maybe we don't have any confused situation in charging type. Yeah. Thank you.
I just want to add into that. I think the battery is just the storage, right? When talking about the EV, I think we are very developed on the charging technology, the software and the hardware that controlling the charging and discharging the battery is really advanced in this day. For example, currently most of the EV are using 400 volts architectures. So and then the high amps which create more heat, right? But another company would use the high volt, like 800 volts architecture and use the lower amp. So then you use smaller wire and the heat is not a lot. I think it's more like a controller, but the battery itself, I think like, even though there are many, but even Tesla, even right now, they also open to use like BYD batteries to put into their models. And they don't even change a lot of the architecture at all. I think that's I want to add.
Yeah, actually, that's the question I asked myself as well, right? And it comes to a point of time where, like Europe, they have to declare a policy where iPhone has to use the USB wire and save all us the trouble. Okay, moving on to the next two questions. What would be the most effective way that you would suggest to advocate people about smart living and or mobility? Can you give examples of what you have done or seen? Who would like to take this up? SOULIYO?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. What would be the most effective way that you would suggest to advocate people about smart living or mobility? Can you give examples of what you have done or seen? I think from your perspective, because you're running a business that focuses on advocacy. Yeah.
I think it's the connectivity and the continuity, right? When we're talking about smart living or smart mobility, it's not like a single service, right? You want to be able to continue using it all of your journey, right? Even in my business, I think the smart mobility is not just about transportation, but the continuity of the service itself. For example, what we try to build is we even integrated like sharing travel insurance. Like if you travel to Laos, right, you need travel insurance during your trip in Laos. We provide it to you on the go. You want transportation, we give it to you. You want to book a bus, we give it to you. And then now it's become like money, right? People think mobility is not about money. No, mobility is about money too. When you travel, when you move around, you need money to carry with you, right? And then you would use cash. But for me, smart living would be continuity to use that service. For LOCA, we allow our customer to use the credit card that they already link on our platform to make a payment to a QR code all across the country that's already widely accepted, almost like AV shop from small to high-end hotels. That is the smart living and smart mobility in my definition.
Yeah,
Got it. I agree.
I add something because I think for educate the people who need to use this kind of smart living or smart mobility, it depends on the how we can distribute all of this infrastructure or devices to the people, right? So I think there's some group of the first adopter who willing to use whatever is happening in the market, and then those guys will be the one who talk and go for the others. Then it will be by itself. I mean, if you have enough devices in the market, then the people will start to use and tell the other to use the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree that. That's why a lot of questions, a lot of focus that we talked about just now, focus on the policies and infrastructure. It's as simple as that, right? Easy accessibility to the infra, then will encourage more people to adapt this mindset. Can we have one more? Do you have time for one more question? Okay, yeah? Okay. Let's move to this. EV or AV development, this for Wong Yu. Development in Korea is very interesting. Could you let us know that which factor that government put in as a key strategy for driving EV?
EV. For EV, already Hyundai Motor released Ioniq brand. This Ioniq brand for EV vehicle. So anyway, Korean car manufacturer start release EV. So Korean government want to change the combustion engine vehicle to full EV vehicle. So they want to decrease pollution from the vehicle. So they use many budget for EV. So in Korea there are many research project budgets. So for this, and also there are many startups for EV. So in these startup EV startup using this budget, they develop their own motor, own inverter, and also this budget is used in SK and LG also. So Korea government finally want to develop EV in only Korea using Korea company. So anyway, this research is very doing well in now currently, and also Hyundai Motor also doesn't make combustion engine until 2025. After that, Hyundai Motor Genesis brand will produce only EV, not combustion engine. So anyway, car manufacturer and Korea government get doing well together. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That seems quite easy, right? You want people to adopt EV, just stop the combustion engine. Problem solved. Okay, time is up, right? Thank you for everyone's question. And also thank you the time from all our esteemed panelists. I really appreciate all the insights. And now definitely I'll come to visit each and every one of you to talk even further. So again, thank you. A round of applause for each and every one of them here.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And this is the section, The Future of Smart Chair Electric Mobility. Thank you for all the honorable speakers as well, and also everyone for coming and joining with us. All right, so we will break the stairs for a while before returning to the next section. And up next section will be the innovation journey toward becoming Yala Smart City. And we will come back up here shortly.